What up, players? Hey, real quick, before I start this vlog, I do want to say this is my official announcement. This will be my last daily vlog on this channel, Punk Cover Moose. From here on out, all of my vlogs will be going to my second channel, and all the extra content will be going to my second channel, So Much Moose. So, if you want to subscribe, if you want to keep seeing these daily vlogs, either search on YouTube, So Much Moose, all one word, or I'll put a link in the description to the other channel. Subscribe to there, because this will be the last daily vlog here. The transition is complete. So, yeah. Two things I want to cover, I think. Obviously, I think it's obvious I'm pretty frustrated. I got my googly eyes back on here, in case you didn't notice. Not sure what to name him yet. Let me know what you think his name is. So first, I had my second physical therapy today. It went well. It's just such a slow process. I got to keep doing the same finger exercises that I was showing you before. And now I got to do like the same thing, but with all the fingers at once. But it feels good. I mean, the movement passively in my fingers are much higher. I got a new sock thing today. Although this one is very thin and doesn't go all the way up, so my fingers keep feeling like they're stuck here, which makes me want to move my fingers, but I can't move my fingers. So I kind of unstrap this and my fingers just kind of fall down, and I feel so much better. But yeah, as far as the physical therapy goes, it's just a slow process, and you just can't rush it. You know what I mean? And for those of you who we've talked or haven't talked that have gone through physical therapy, you know, it just takes time. Look, it's still daylight out. I'm doing a little early today because I didn't sleep well, and I don't know if I'll feel like vlogging tonight. And I've noticed the last 2 times that I missed it, I've only missed 3 times. One was from the injury, but the last 2 times I just didn't feel like doing it because I was tired. You know what I mean? I kind of got set up in my bed, and I'm like, ugh. I had so much I want to say, but I don't feel like vlogging, and I don't want to do it in my bed, and yeah. So I figured I'll just do it now, get it out of the way. But anyways, physical therapy. I got that extra exercise now where I got to passively kind of scrunch all my fingers down, if that makes sense. So before it was just each individual finger. I have to use this hand to move the fingers down. That's passive. Let my finger bounce back on its own, and then lift it up to the splint. My middle and ring finger are still sagging a bit. I can move them up. I can feel the stretch when I do that, but at rest they're here. But now I have to keep doing that, but I have to do that with all of my fingers at once. So I'm not going to do it all the way because I already did a lot today, and my tendons feel like they're stretched, and they're probably going to hurt just from stretching. So other than that, I mean, she did the same stuff we did last time. She held my hand like in a hook hand. So it's like a half fist, and then she just kind of like moved. So my hand would be like this, and she'd hold it with her hand, and she would just kind of move my wrist back and forth like this, and it feels so good. She was doing it. I closed my eyes, and she's just doing it, and she's like, "You seem unsure." And I'm like, "No, it feels good." I'm just enjoying it. So she's wasn't like completely surprised because she said she's seen this before, but she's happy that my pain is like nothing. You know, I mean, I told her, you know, sometimes you just move the wrong way or something. Like I told her, like in the morning, like my body just naturally starts trying to stretch, and I want to do it with this arm too, but it just, because you're making those muscles and stuff, it feels tense. I was telling her the last few days I've not been sleeping well and having bad dreams, so I think my hands have been clenching, and I'll wake up in the morning and in the middle of the night, and it doesn't hurt, but it just feels uncomfortable and tight, you know. And she said that's, you know, it's not good. There's really not much you can do about that. Just because, you know, you're in your sleep. She said the only thing you can do is just make sure you're strapped in to your splint, and, you know, just, you know, that's it. And to be honest, I'm having bad dreams, I think, because I've just been stressed from people, which is going to be my next thing I talk about here. Which actually, I have a small insurance update as well, so I'll sandwich that in between. But other than that, it's still, I mean, she's like happy with my progress, but it's still just going to be a long road. So, but honestly, I feel like it's kind of working out because I've been making so much content, and like I said a few vlogs ago, it's been getting better. So, like, you know, as I think just from consistently posting 3 to 5 times a day, it's just like more, the algorithms are like finding my audience, you know what I mean? I'm still sort of in a lull in Facebook, which I don't really care because I just don't even check it really anymore. I did today, and I had one good comment, one kind of neutral comment, which is, you know, neutral, but still getting hate. When it's like nasty hate, I'm just blocking them at this point. But like I said, I'm not even checking. But I think, you know, blocking those 10 or so people when it started, that helped. But overall, I think all the platforms, their algorithms are finding my people, because I've been getting a lot of like really nice comments. You know, just people that are just, they seem genuinely into what I'm doing. So, which, that's what we want. So, you know, and honestly, like I said before too, people just say shit, you know. Sometimes it's, like I said, like the neutral comment, it was just like, I think it was my cover of Bad Guy. He was like, play it faster and find people to play with you or something. I'm like, okay. Like, you know what I mean? My following on TikTok, man, it's really, it was already ramping up before the ban, and it's still just like, seems to be really going up. YouTube is pretty much the same. It's still steadily going up. TikTok really seems to be ramping up like quickly. I won't be surprised if in a few months, 3, 4, 5 months, it surpasses my subscribers on YouTube. But on YouTube, I'm actually, at the time of recording this video, I checked it about an hour or two ago, I have 3,399 subscribers. I'm one away from 3,400. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, pretty cool. But then the odd thing too is like Facebook and Instagram, like when I started this in September again, like not many followers, you know, hardly any actually. But now after the whole TikTok ban, it's like I get like 1 or so a day, which is like better than none. It's just kind of an odd observation with the TikTok ban, you know what I mean? But yeah, I digress. I was talking about physical therapy stuff. She's saying everything's looking good. Like my hand was pretty nasty. I'm not going to show it. It's looking much better just because it was in that bandage. You know what I mean? And there was still like iodine on there from the surgery, and the surgical markers still very much there. Um, but all the other, like my skin with the iodine and all that, like it's because I can wash it every day now. I just been washing it once at night, um, before my shower, and um, she said it's looking good. So I have these little, they're like little band-aids. I can't remember what they're called, Sani strips or something like that. Um, they're over where my whole cut was and surgery was. They were like glued on there. They're still there, but I was washing around it after my follow-up, but then my physical therapist said, no, you can honestly run your hand underwater, soap it up with, like a baby wipe or something, wipe it down, rinse it, like don't have to wash around it, just wash over it. And that's probably dissolving that glue or whatever for those bandages. Like they're self-adhering, but the they put something extra on it to help them stick on there. But then they gave me a bunch extra because they're like, every couple days swap these out. But like 2 days won't pass, and they were kind of starting to get, like lint and stuff in there. And I was trying to peel them off, but they're like stuck on there. And then a couple days later, I went to the physical therapist, and she asked, and I told her, and she looked at it, and she's like, well, that's when she told me to wash over the strips or whatever, the band-aids, whatever you want to call them. She's like, this will help them come off. And she saw today, she's like, it looks like they're starting to peel off, which they are, and it's looking good. So 2 days a week for a couple hours. Well, the first time it was about an hour and a half. Today was about an hour. So, but it's like it changes every week, so I'm just like, plus, just I still got to do all my normal stuff that I would normally do. I got to keep the like checking account balance with the budget, and there's like added stuff to do because like I'm getting nervous because I got to go twice a week for the next at least 3 months to physical therapy, and it's $20 copay, which is good, but that adds up quick. So, hey, if you can use the Amazon links in the description, I would appreciate it. Or buy some merch. That would be sick. Yeah. But I do have some side jobs coming up too, so I'll let you know about that once they're more solidified and how those went. It's gonna be tough, but the dude's helping me out, and he's like, I was like, I'm gonna be pretty much half useless because I can't use this hand. So he said that's cool, so we're gonna roll with it. Every little bit helps right now, so it's not much, but it's kind of a lot actually. So yeah. What was the thing I was gonna sandwich in between? I said this. I want to talk about the other thing. What was that third thing that I wanted to talk about second? I don't remember now. May have talked about it already. I don't recall now. Maybe. Oh, I remember now. Insurance. So, if you guys saw the vlog yesterday, I had gotten a bill, maybe a bill. It was kind of worded from the ambulance company saying like, may or not be $1,500. We let your insurance company know. Insurance company got back to me. They were like, hey, we cover 70% of it. Here's a check for our 70%. You're responsible for the other 30%, which my 30% is like $450. Everyone told me that's pretty normal. A few people said that's how they do it for out-of-network stuff. But from what I could tell, it was in-network. But I couldn't get my explanation of benefits. I never got one, which might seem weird. you know, like, you probably just threw it away or something. But the insurance started on the 1st. My injury was on the 4th. So it makes me feel like, and, you know, foil hat time, maybe they're like, maybe we shouldn't send this quite yet because we might have to bend the rules a little bit. Not saying or denying that, but that's what happened. I never got one. So I was able to log into my account now or whatever. I don't know if I mentioned that or if you guys remember from before. I wasn't able to log into like my chart and stuff like that. Now, or I was going online into my account trying to find my explanation of benefits. I could not find it to save my life. I Googled it. I used ChatGPT. I didn't have high hopes for that, but yeah, I couldn't find it. So I ended up just calling and asking. And this is what's strange. There's no like explanation of benefits on there. You can find your explanation of benefits underneath each claim. And it's not the whole explanation of benefits, it's your explanation of benefits for that claim. Yeah, crazy. So, you know, there's that. But, you know, it confirms that they will cover 70%, which, again, I said this yesterday. I'm not complaining because I know that's really good. But my 30%, the $450, it's still a lot of money. It's a lot of money, especially right now. And I know I can just make payments or whatever. I'm basically still just trying to figure out, like, can I just call them and say, hey, can you help me out? I don't know the best way to do that. I asked someone today about it who has a little bit of knowledge in that field, I guess, and he said that's probably what the price is going to be. So your best thing to do would probably be just to make payments. But I have, I think it's 90 days to deposit that check. Because if that goes up, then I'm just like screwed out of that money. Then I gotta pay 100%. Which actually, I should probably double check that. It might be something weird like you have to do it within 3 days, and now I'm really screwed because it's been 3 days. I doubt it, but I just don't know if I can do that. You know what I mean? Because that's a lot. Because the only thing is like if that was the only bill, I could just do the payments, and you know, for the next couple years or whatever, and then we're done. Then you know, whatever. But everything else is still pending. So like, I double checked it again when I logged into my account today. There's a ton of pending charges still for the surgeries. They had 2 surgeries. So there's 2 surgeries. There's the anesthesia. There is, oh man, like my follow up. I don't know. There's a few other on there too. Whatever else they had to do. So you know, I don't know what that's gonna be. So I can't just pay the $450 now, even if I had it, because it's like, shoot, well, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know a good plan of action, I guess. So again, if you guys have any advice, please let me know. Either hit me up or comment. But that's that. So I haven't been sleeping well because I think I said this yesterday. I was apprehensive to talk about my vlog about religion. I was very apprehensive to post that, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. Ugh. It's honestly just caused more stress. And I've been so busy lately. I got a ton to do this week. You know, I still have to put something together. I have something together. I got to finish it up to post onto my Patreon, so I can, if I don't post anything, I don't get paid. So I need to do that. However, because of that, I haven't, like I said, a handful of people have reached out to me about just talking. I believe, I know one is for sure, but I think the other dude is a Christian pastor, and just to talk, and that's cool. But I've done this before in the past, and it just doesn't really end the same. And I talk to my wife about it a lot, and we see eye to eye on those things. And it's just, the little bit that I have talked with a select few of people, it's just been stressing me out. And I always come back to this same thing that I thought I explained in the first vlog. Pretty sure it came across in yesterday's vlog. Like 100% of the time, and again, people are not perfect, but they just do and say these things, like their beliefs, about their beliefs, or just an everyday life type of stuff, that just makes me not trust their judgment to begin with. So when I'm seeking out religious information, I don't know, just like certain people just like will come forward and like want to talk, and I still don't trust their judgment. You know what I mean? Not saying that I don't like them or that they're bad people, but if I can't trust your judgment on like simple or obvious day-to-day things, like repeatedly, I'm not going to trust your judgment on something that's a little more in depth. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, back in the day, everybody was like, you need to go to college. Welding is not going to pay your bills. And I've talked about that before. And even if I didn't, we all know how that turned out, because people in the trades are killing it right now, work-wise. And most people that went to college went to stuff or got degrees in things that don't really need degrees. Hello. Uh, me being one of them, in case that didn't make sense. But I didn't know that back then, because everybody told me, young and dumb me, that, well, it doesn't matter what you have a degree in, it'll help you get a better job. It does not. So my point is I feel like those are the same types. It's like the same sort of like reasoning. You know what I mean? I wouldn't trust those people now to tell me what I should do with my life, because those are important decisions. If it was something like, oh man, you should definitely try the cheeseburger over the chicken sandwich, it's not going to make or break my day. And I'll know what not to try next time if they were wrong, right? It's because it's not a big deal. When it comes to an important life decision, it's very... Does that make sense? I hope it does. Because what it really boils down to for me is I first of all, people have this, and it may not be you guys watching it, but there's people that are just in my life that don't really follow my music and stuff like that, that I don't know where they came up with this conclusion that I don't believe in God. It's someone said to me that maybe it seems like I'm unsure, and I can see how that, and I explained this yesterday, I can see how that came off. And the more I thought about it, at first I was just like, oh my God, like you're missing the big picture here. But then as I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I mean, the way my thought process is like, well, this is going to be difficult, and there's probably going to be disagreements, but I don't care. One thing that my wife and I talked about was like, and there's many, 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 many things when it comes to religion and science and God or no God, but one thing that we talked about was evolution, because to me, the people that say this to me, they're like extremists, and they will say how evolution is stupid, like a fish can't turn into a monkey, which I don't think there's anywhere out there that a fish turned into a monkey. I didn't look it up either. However, you can look it up. There is scientific evidence out there that, all of our genes, our DNA, it's a bunch of on and off switches, ones and zeros. You have a tail or you don't. You have fur or you don't. You have dark hair or you have blonde hair, or you have red hair or you have brown hair, or so on and so forth, right? It's very long and very complex. So there's that, right? So could a fish be a monkey? Probably. A fish, I mean, scientifically, it says yes, it can happen. Evolution happens over a long period of time, not within a human's lifespan. It happens over millennia. Because as the earth changes, or their environment changes, your body takes note, and when you have offspring, those switches get flipped on and off. So it happens over a long, long period of time. And for that drastic, right? However, within our recorded history, we've seen it. Now, it's not much because it's not drastic, because we've only been recording history for a lot less longer than millennia. So when someone just says that to me, right, that evolution is dumb, they never have anything other than like, it says this in the Bible or something. Like that's not a source, unfortunately. As much as I kind of don't like saying that, it's just not. Because I don't want to get into the Bible, but to stay on subject, there's that part of it. So for me, the way my thought process is like, I'm not trying to seek out if God just created or evolution happened. It's not A or B for me. Because, and like I've said many times in my vlogs, I've said this for a very long time, actually, even before the vlogs, even before the channel, that when there are two extremes, the answer almost 100% of the time is in the middle, or very close to it. I think we see it a lot with politics right now, for instance. So when it comes to something like evolution, right? I see, oh, well, we have things to back evolution up. So why is it that they couldn't coexist? Because to me, that makes more sense. It may have been in a higher being's plan or something, but just flat out saying things like that is another thing that just makes me not trust someone's judgment. And then just even the many personal interactions that I've had with, I was in a Christian band. One of the first bands I was in. We were a Christian band. We did things for a church. We saw more behind the scenes stuff. It made it worse for me. And honestly, it seems a lot of the things, and I'm sorry guys, I hate to say it, it makes it feel very programmed, very cult-like. And that's what I meant by humans messing up religion. Because it feels like maybe God or Jesus or whoever didn't even really intend on religion. It seems like a very man-made thing. And I think it's making it worse. I think it would pull people away from not only a God, but spirituality in general. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. I hope it does for you. But there's just many examples. The evolution one is just one of a good handful of things that my wife and I had talked about. And when I seek these things out, I'm not seeking things out to prove that God doesn't exist or that science is wrong. I'm interested in information to learn. And I think that's very important, and I think a lot of people don't do that. And I think that's why we have a lot of polarization politically, because the extremists on both sides of the political spectrum, can't speak for every country, but because I'm American, so in America, that's our problem. You know, I mean, the simple fact that I like to seek out information to learn, to find a true answer, and sometimes it's not out there. Sometimes you need to try things to gather data to find the answer. It may not even be what everybody thinks it is. You know, politically, people argue about gun control, right? This may be surprising to some people. A large amount of people in my family are hunters. I don't have a problem with guns. I was also taught at a very young age, very strictly, how to handle a gun in many situations. I thought that's how everybody was, and it's not. But me just saying I'm okay with owning a gun. That triggers a lot of people. Did I just make a pun? That triggers a lot of people to automatically think I'm conservative, or now even worse, that I just worship Donald Trump, which is just, if you're going to make assumptions and comments like that without any other information other than what I just said, you are the problem. But then it's happened other ways where I'm just like, well, you know what? I think there needs to be some sort of regulation or something so people know if they are going to handle a gun, or if they end up in a situation with someone who shouldn't have a gun, who does have a gun, how to handle it safely. This, that, and the other. Not black. It's a very broad subject, right? But to stay on point, if I were to say that, there are many people within my life that would say, like, I am a left-leaning, libtard, Obama, Joe Biden loving, which again, you are part of the problem. If you're going to make these comments and assumptions without any information. It's like the same stuff you guys tell me, like when people just make these asinine comments to me. Like the one I made the other day about my pros and cons of a one-handed musician. Someone was just like, this guy's just in a cast for a few weeks. It's like, what drives me crazy is it's probably someone who's very polarized, like politically and a lot of other things, has this strong opinion that he came to this conclusion about a video I made that's clearly a joke, and it wasn't even a cast. First of all, he had so much info. He just made these assumptions in his head that was all misinformation, and made a comment that made absolutely no sense. Whether it's a comment on someone who makes content on the internet, or politics, or circling back around religion, that is the problem. Is it all making sense? I feel like I explained that pretty well. I thought about this really hard before I started this vlog. Because I didn't want to do it all willy-nilly again. Maybe one more example is that, when I started recording, and there's many, many examples. When I started recording and I just watched a video on this yesterday from a guy I'm subscribed to. When I started recording, I sucked at it, like hard. I'm still not really that great, to be honest, but a lot of people think that I am fairly decent, so that's cool. But when I started, I will tell you, I sucked. I really sucked. When I had my own studio here, my first studio here in Pennsylvania, I was recording bands and I was charging them, and I could have been better. I mean, we always can be better, right? The difference that I feel like I had, and it's not just me, right? I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything. I was constantly trying to get better. The only way you're going to get better is, first of all, you have to try to get better, and then you have to be consistent in trying to get better. So time. You have to try, and you have to give it time. Because you're just not going to be the most amazing recording engineer overnight. Some people may have more of a natural talent than other people or whatever. Maybe that was partially me or whatever. I don't know. But my point is, I couldn't, when I first started, it was just like, man, my guitars, when I record guitar, it sounds so crappy. And I would get online, or I would watch YouTube videos or talk to people. It actually really wasn't much of YouTube back then, there wasn't at all, actually. it was more forums and stuff, right? And people were just like, oh, you need, it's because you're using the wrong microphone. You need this microphone. And wouldn't you believe it? I bought that microphone and my guitar still sounded like garbage. And it was like, oh, you know what? You're using the wrong cables. You need better cables. And wouldn't you believe it? I bought better cables and my guitar tone still sounded like crap. And it's like, man, you know what? Your guitar you need a better guitar. You need better pickups. You need a better amp. You need better studio monitors. You need better recording converters. You need better preamps. You need to use a better EQ. First of all, I will tell you, you can get very good recordings with pretty mediocre and entry-level stuff. You do have to have good equipment to begin with. I mean, not to begin with, but the better your gear, the easier it is. Let's just say that. But what it comes down to is if you have a decent sounding guitar and a decent sounding source, right? So a guitar, amp, and a lot of people look over is a player, you'll get a decent recording. Yeah, you can move the mic a little to the left or put it a little bit off axis or whatever. No one knows what I'm talking about. And yeah, it makes it a little brighter or darker sounding, but the meat of it, you got to be a good player on a decent guitar, and you have to have good tone to begin with, right? You can't polish a turd, right? Have you ever heard that? Anyways, the point being is I took advice from all of these people thinking I needed better converters and preamps and studio monitors and software, recording software. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. There's so much good recording software out there. It's crazy. And they were wrong. And they didn't know what they were talking about. And if I knew who those people were, if I remembered their usernames on these forums, if I remember what forums I was even on, I would not take their advice ever again. But what I really learned is that when people say that, they don't know what they're talking about. They just don't. Now, of course, there's subtleties. My recordings aren't the greatest. But what did I say I had last year? 60,000 plays for 2020 or for 2024. Am I going to get 120,000 plays if I re-recorded those songs and made them better? If I recorded them with the best recording engineer on the planet? No. A good song's a good song. Listen back to the early recordings of Motown and rock and roll. The Beatles, they were huge. There were a ton of massive artists from Motown, from everything back in the day. They started out with, recording engineers used to be scientists who wore white lab coats. And it turned into people like me who just focused on the art. They were focused on the science of recording because it was so new. They had to, they didn't understand mid and tones and, or mid-range and tones and high-end and low-end and all these things. That's why people like me took it over, who think like me kind of took over the space. Why scientists don't do it as a main profession or whatever. And it evolved into having not just one track. A whole band would have to rehearse and get the song super tight, and they would, set up a few microphones. They had a 4-channel mixer, and they would mix it down into a 1-track tape machine, and they would have to okay, the bass is a little loud, so let's move him back, and we don't really have enough mics for the drum kit, so try not, we're not going to hear the ride cymbal very well, so just don't play that. Try not to play that. it evolved it from that to 2 tracks, to 4 tracks, to 8 tracks, 16, 24. Now it's pretty virtually unlimited now. You know what I mean? Queen, when they recorded Bohemian Rhapsody, the amount of tracks that they used for the vocals was way more than what they had available to them. But they made it work, right? So it didn't matter. They didn't need whatever recording software to do that. They did it. They figured out how to do it. It took longer, but they did it. And as we all know, Bohemian Rhapsody is an absolute classic. The Beatles, I think for most, if not all of their career, they had 4 tracks. And they made a lot of things work. Maybe 8 tracks. I don't know. But again, I'm not even saying these things as a fact. I'm just like, it was like 4 or 8 tracks, right? Because I'm not sure. It's okay to not be sure. But my point is, that was just a side note. But my point is that if they had 4 tracks, they made these massive hits. And if you listen to the recording quality compared to what we can do now, it's really, really not that great. It was great for the era, and it sounds like the era, right? But if you truly listen, do you think if the Beatles re-recorded any of their songs now, recording quality-wise, it would sound better? Yes. However, they were good players, they were good musicians, they were good songwriters. They made massive hits with what they had. Obviously, they had a major label budget and all that stuff back then. Things panned out for them pretty well. But the point is still the same. Does that make sense? So, again, just to kind of circle back around, when it comes to religion, I don't understand why a lot of things can't really coexist more. I don't understand why people are so adamant about making it known that they think I am going to hell for thinking that. It's pretty asinine to me. And, just in my experience, I've lost more relationships to that than probably anything else. Doesn't that seem worse? Doesn't that seem bad? Doesn't that seem ungodly? Doesn't that seem not Christian? I don't have a problem with being Christian, but the stereotype hits those marks a lot. And I know some of you guys that watch these are, and, we've talked. I don't think you're like that. Obviously, not everyone is like that. And it's unfortunate. The stereotypes, I identified as a Christian at one point. I was raised Catholic. I was in a Christian band. I identified with Christianity. And honestly, I feel like I wised up a bit. Just because I didn't become atheist or something, or even if I did, let's get real. Hating someone for that, or I don't know. It's crazy. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. I don't know. But I don't know, guys. I don't understand why right now, for me, I don't understand why I'm the problem. And for me personally, I'm probably gonna have to be a little vague here, but just looking at the mutual connections that I have between me and these other people coming at me about, living by the gospel and doing things in God's name. Do you not see the other things that have happened with our mutuals, you think I'm the biggest case. It took me a long time to realize that people are not perfect, and that I am much more capable and independent than I ever realized. I thought I needed other people a lot more than I actually do. I mean, you need people, but it was things about, decisions I know how to make. I know how to think logically and make good decisions based off of the knowledge I'm presented with, even if it's limited. I'm very good at it. And the fact that someone wouldn't trust me on that is crazy. Especially if we have mutuals that are, lying, stealing, and you're okay with them in your life. People who have poor judgment about things that, maybe I've already done before in my past, because I went through the school of hard knocks and learned how to do it. And I have the not just the knowledge, I have the proof to back it up. But at the end of the day, it hurts more when it's someone that's close to you, or supposed to be, and they don't see it that way. They don't trust you. They don't believe you. But like I've said before, I said in the vlog yesterday, when I had the last job I had, when we acquired another company right before I got hired on, and it was then we added, it was a pro audio company, so we added a pro audio department and division to our company. And the lady running it at our location said, I absolutely do not know what I'm talking about, and there's nothing I can do to help her. It still makes me laugh. Oh, man, it makes me laugh. Because so much of the stuff we had there, I have here. Or I've used a lot, or extensively, or didn't use because it's garbage. The vice president of that department was telling me he couldn't understand why we couldn't move SM57s. I don't have any. I have 2 of them, but none near me. It's a very common Shure microphone, SM57. He's like, we can't move these things. I was like, well, don't know if you want my 2 cents or not, but when I was looking in the system, I realized that they're overpriced. No, they're not. Well, man, I respect your opinion, but I've been working with these for well over 2 decades. They're over. We're the most expensive I've ever seen anyone try to sell them brand new, and we didn't buy them brand. I mean, they weren't used, but they were sitting in a warehouse for a few years, and then they were sitting in our warehouse for a few years. Even still to this day, I'm pretty sure this was about 6 months ago, so they may have changed slightly. I'm pretty sure, still to this day, a brand new Shure SM57 and 58, if I'm not mistaken, are $99, $100. They were trying to sell them, I think, for $125. He didn't believe me. He had, and you know what's crazy? Everybody has a fucking smartphone in their pocket. You know what he could have did? You're wrong, Josh. But actually, what would have happened was, oh, you're right. What else can we do? What else do you know? From there on out, I did not trust his judgment. He was the vice president. The vice president. And there's other people who are in similar, let's say, positions of power when it comes to politics. And the main subject of this video, religion. Not everyone's perfect. But you have to at least be honest enough with yourself and smart enough to be wrong. To be focused on actual, legitimate, good, healthy progress. Right? Or am I wrong? Makes sense to me. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for the support. Amazon links, affiliate links, merch links, all in the bottom. And remember, this will be the last vlog I am uploading to the Punk Cover Moose channel. I will now be daily vlogging on the second channel, So Much Moose. I will have the link in the description. If you can't go to the description, I don't think you can on a TV. Search So Much Moose, all one word, on YouTube. You'll find me. You'll know it's me. You'll see the little moose logo. I'm like, ha! And I'm holding a sign that says, So Much Moose. That's me. So, yeah, I'll be there. Thanks for the support, guys. I don't care what walk of life that you come from, where you come from, how you were raised. I think I could probably say that for everyone watching this, because I think I talk to all of you pretty regularly. I know that you're all good people, and we're all different, and that does not affect or change my mind about you. I want to make that clear too. So I know that you're all good people, and that's what I like about you most. So with that being said, I will see you tomorrow.